and I try to do some regular content and just kind of all over the place with it. So I'm just kind of restructuring, just restarting it from scratch. Want to rebuild, the audience, and let's talk about that money mindset for small entrepreneurs. A little bit about myself. I live here in a cool little town called New Braunfels, Texas. I actually grew up here, moved all over the place afterwards. Joined the Army, spent 15 years. I'm a combat veteran, 100% disabled vet, retired, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have several businesses that are all very successful. Work from home, retired my wife a year ago, so she's now at home helping me. We have 2 houses. We had a house built 3 years ago that our oldest daughter and my mother-in-law stay in now, and my wife and I purchased this home down here in New Braunfels. It's 4,300 square feet on a little over an acre. Like, it's massive for just the 2 of us, but it's good. We're blessed, and I want to share that journey on how we got here. It wasn't always easy. It's tough being an entrepreneur, and people always ask me, like, do you like working from home? Oh, that'd be cool. I love working from home, but it takes discipline. I'm up every day at 6:15, kind of around there, and I'm grinding from the get-go. I'm up, I'm working, I'm thinking 2 steps ahead already for the day, and I'm planning it out on what to do. So today, I just kind of want to talk about my journey a little bit. So, getting out of the Army, I worked as a mechanic for a little while. For a couple of years, I started as just an oil change tech in an automotive shop, and within a year, I worked my way up through every position to being the shop foreman. Then I started doing like the service advisor role, and then eventually I left there. I went to go work at a dealership for like 6-7 months. Wasn't my thing. I really didn't like it. I knew I wanted more than just being a technician. I wanted to be able to run the shop. I was just like, man, it'd be so cool if I was able to run my own shop. So then I had the opportunity to be a store manager at Sears Automotive, and I did that for several years. And I was always in the back of my mind, I'm just like, what if I owned my own shop? Like, that's the ticket right there. That's where I know I could really succeed. Well, as things have it, I got fired from my job at Sears, making $55,000 a year. I lost it all, and I was lost. I didn't know what I needed to do. I was applying for jobs, said I have a bachelor's degree in finance. I was really hoping that would help me out. But no one was really looking for my skill set, because all my stuff was, automotive, and more of the technician side versus, management or finance or accounting or whatever, so I was like, well, I need to do something. So now's my time, because my back's against the wall and I don't have shit, like, I don't have anything to fall back on. I don't have, a mom or dad that I can just call and be like, hey, I need some help. I was married, I had a baby on the way, and I was like, fuck, but I started my own shop. I became very successful with it. I had it for several years. I had a business partner. He ended up moving to a different state, so I ended up closing, selling everything, and I thought that I wanted to go back and work, in the shop as a shop manager somewhere, and just kind of bring a different mindset to it, so I went and worked at a couple shops. I did really good, and then I was recruited by AutoZone to be an area manager, where I actually go talk to shop owners and trying to sell them on using AutoZone for parts. At first I liked it. I had that sense of freedom. You get your company car, your little iPad, and you make a plan for the day, and you go out and talk to shops and tell them how you want them to use your parts. You want to earn their business. The problem I had is a lot of those guys hated AutoZone, and they just look at you like a nobody, like you're just there pretty much begging for their business. So I had a lot of issues with shop managers and business owners just talking shitty to you. And I'm just like, nah, like, I don't need this. So a buddy of mine owned a shop. He's like, hey man, why don't you leave and come partner with me and we can really build this. And I was just like, yeah, I think I want to do that. Did that for a little bit. It was okay. But I was done working with my hands at the time. Like, I'm trying to park cars and fixing them. And I'm just like, man, this shit sucks. Like I could manage, of course, we made really good money. I had shitty credit at the time. And I had talked to my financial advisor that I had about, what I need to do to get myself situated and really set up for success for the future. And when we were talking about credit repair, she said that she had a friend that did credit repair. And I was like, oh my God, perfect. So I called her and she was giving me some insights on it. And she was actually just selling it for another company. And I was just like, I need someone who's actually going to do it, not just sell me on it. Because I've done that before where somebody sold me on it and then nothing was done. So I started doing that and I became very successful with it. Making a lot of money. I ended up being a coach and mentoring people and helping them build their brand and doing really good. We built a house 3 years ago. Beautiful home. Love it. But as we're growing and we're opening up, several businesses now, and we're really trying to ramp up and grow, and we find this house here in this beautiful little town, New Braunfels, out in the hill country. House is huge, like 4,300 square feet. Empty's got a movie theater upstairs. It's on a little over an acre, 3.5 car garage. It's 600 square feet, which is amazing because one of my businesses is automotive diagnostics. So I could literally do everything that I need to do from home. Here's the tricky part. With that came the finances. And this is where a lot of small businesses, I wouldn't say fail, I would say more lack of knowledge on this part. A lot of businesses that I talk to use like Zelle and Cash App, and that's cool when you're first starting. Hell, when I first started, that's what I used. But eventually we had to get a merchant account and we had to structure our finances to show what we're making. We had to create a P&L every month to see how much money we're making, how much money we're losing, goals, KPIs, all the little bullshit people don't like to talk about. Probably because they don't know a lot of it. We wanted to purchase this home, but we already have another house that we're not trying to sell. This house was crazy expensive, and when we went and talked to the lender, we didn't have 2 years of taxes. My fault, but we had a CPA that was helping us get things figured out. And this year, 2024, February, would have been 2 years on paper, that we had we got started late on the paper side with the taxes. So definitely get your LLC. It's okay to start off as a DBA. That's what we did. And then, when you're making crazy money, that first year I really hustled. Made over 400,000. It comes quick. When you're hustling and you're grinding and the money comes in, you're like, oh shit. Like, I need a CPA or at least a bookkeeper at a minimum. I need to start figuring out, like, where's the money going? How much am I saving? How much am I putting in? Taxes. That shit's crazy. It all adds up. So what happened with us is we're getting bombarded by the bank. They're like, hey, we need this and that and all this information. Luckily, we had it, and it made me think, like, it took us a little while, but we actually bought this house under our business name on business credit, because we didn't have the 2 years. So then once we hit February, it's 2 years. We refinanced it under our own name, for tax purposes. But it was scary. You're buying almost $1 million home, and then you have another home on top of that that's almost 400,000. You're looking over $1 million in just two houses, not cars or anything else. It gets scary. So one thing we talked about is, sorry, my wife and I actually did a little notepad this morning on what I was going to do. The mindset of a small business owner. It's okay to think small when you first start. But with us, we're always thinking 2 steps ahead. I'm always trying to plan, like, what else can I do? How else can I grow these businesses? What do I need to invest in to make my job easier? Several months ago, I hired a personal assistant that has been a game changer for me, because she does all the little tedious tasks that, quite frankly, obviously I don't want to do, but that I don't have time to do. I don't have time to be making spreadsheets or to, be creating all kinds of help. She's going to edit this video for me. It's those little things that I'm just like, hey, I'm charging people $150 an hour, on the consulting side. The diagnostic side, that's anywhere from 125 to 200, an hour, depending on what I'm doing. So I don't have time to be doing little minute tasks, and that's the thing. Like, when you're a business owner, you want your hand in everything. You want to do it all. And when you're first starting, that's okay. Hell, my wife and I did that. We did everything. Now we have a small team that helps us because we built that. We had to learn the hard way. We had people help us that took advantage, and that was my fault. I learned a hard lesson about teaching people that are working for you the back end of your business, because then I see this happen all the time. I have people that I mentor that this has happened to before they came to talk to me, saying, hey, I had this person, they were working for me, I'm showing them everything, and now they've started their own company. Now they're my competition, trying to take my clients. That's just part of being in business. It sucks, but you have to try to think like, I don't know, Amazon. Jeff Bezos, the dude is billionaire. This guy has teams and has people. When he was first starting, I'm sure he was grinding it out by himself. Fuck, Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg started in his garage. Macintosh, whatever that fool's name is. All these people started off small and built up. So don't depend too deep onto people when you're first starting. Grind it out. Work those 12-hour days. Feel that pain. Feel that struggle. Feel that feeling of, fuck, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. And just use that to motivate you. Because once you've made it and you can look back at that, you can see, like, damn, those are some dark times, but I did it. Right now, if I lost my assistant, if I lost my team, I could still run this business with just my wife and I. Because I built this. I did everything by myself, and I kept moving, and then I built up. As a small business owner, you need to be able to do that. And I got that from the military. The person above you, you have to know their job. You got to know it inside and out. Because in combat, if something happens and that person falls, you're going to step up, and now you have to lead the team. You have to, continue the fight, continue the mission. But if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're going to fail. So the biggest thing I want to start on this channel is really talking about the mindset of business owners. I want to try to bring people in, kind of like a podcast style. Just ask them a question. Where's their mindset at? Where was your mindset first coming into this type of, business, whatever you're doing, and every day I say every day, but I try and do a short video every day as much as I can, to talk about my journey, to talk about being a business owner. Even if you have a job, a full-time 40-hour job, you can start a side hustle, and if you just really get at it, that side hustle will make you more money than your full-time job. And imagine, this is a side hustle. You're making more money than your main job, and you're doing it in a shorter amount of time. Imagine if you leave that full-time job and you put all that effort into that side hustle, how much more money you're going to make. My side hustle, I make over 6 figures on it a year as my side hustle. I call it a side hustle because it's what it is. I have other businesses, that take the majority of my time. And then I kick back on this one, because it's fun and I love doing it, so that's about it. I'm gonna try to keep this, not too long. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's any questions, please drop them down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, hit that bell notification for more videos. And and if there's anything that you want me to talk about, any kind of content, or if you want to be a guest on this, hit me up. Again, I'll drop a link in the comments as well, on how to make an appointment with me, a little quick 15-minute phone call. And let's get it.